is part 2 of our take-home kits. If you need to use the weighted blanket, or if you feel like it might benefit your child to use our classroom weighted blanket, please let me know. You can text me or email, and I'm happy to send this home for the week. This is really great for calming them, transition times. We can talk more about that, but I'm gonna set this here. So we just reviewed our folder. If you haven't had a chance to do that, please watch the video before this. In your take-home kit, your child is going to have a little white rug. And this is really important. You're going to, I actually would probably use the plain side, but if they want to use the butterfly side, that's fine too. I couldn't find one without patterns. Your child is going to want to roll this out. When you show them or when they discover this I think is going to be really enjoyable for them. I think they're going to get really a kick out of seeing their own little rug in their kits, because this is essential for your Montessori work. It's essential for preparing your work, and this is the first step that we do. You don't have to use this for a table work. This can be for the floor. So every time they want to do a floor work, you can ask them, where's your rug? So would you like to get your rug, or invite them? And you want to put this, maybe like when you find a work spot for them, set this or place this in a basket next to their table. In your kits, we're going to have some practical life work. I am sending home some seeds in this container, and the directions are on the back, and this is our butterfly seeds, and this is just a traditional garden mix. This is going to want full sun. I think you just clear a space, and you're going to put the seeds maybe a ½ inch into the soil, and I think it's mostly full sun. This is a little gift for your child if they want to make pots inside with inside plants, or if you have, those of you who might be good at gardening, you can come up with some little ideas for this. Succulents are great for these, and then they can decorate their inside of their pots. So this is their sewing work, and they will have, I don't have it out, I can't see it, but their needle and their thread is in this little container, and these are not very sharp, quite dull. So you're just going to help them thread it, and what I like to do is once I thread it, I like to put a little knot right at the needle, and that way when they thread it, it doesn't come undone, because that can feel really frustrating for them. When we measure out our yarn, we unroll it and we open our arms from one end to the other, and we cut here, then we thread it, and we begin our work. We're sending home, it's a rectangle plastic, not sure what to call it, but you'll see it, and that's going to be what they use for the sewing work, and we'll send them home every week. And they can use it for a bookmark, give it as a gift, and this will keep them busy. If they're 3, the only suggestion that I want to give is you don't necessarily have to oversee their work, but maybe remind them to pull it through away from their eyes, away from their face. The 4s and the 5s, they know this. They've had a lot of practice, but it's always good to remind our 3-year-olds so that they don't accidentally poke themselves. Remember, we talked about push pinning. This is their push pinning pad. This is what they're going to use underneath when they place their push pin, and they'll probably show you how to do this. They can choose, I put several of them in here, and if they want to push pin out the chicken, they can place it like so on their pad, and inside the envelope is the actual push pin. It's sharp. I don't think it's enough. Well, it could probably hurt, but we carry them very carefully, and we walk to where we're going to work. This could actually be stored, if you have a little glass container, it can be stored on top of their desk with the needle side facing down. And they can ask first, or maybe let you know that they're going to be using it first. They can set it up, But just a little heads up from them to you is maybe you could remind them, if you want to do your push pinning work, let me know. That way everybody can stay safe. This is a clipboard, which they love, believe it or not. They love to go get clipboards from the big classroom. This can be a great outside work when you're doing your scavenger hunts, when they want to sit on the floor and write. I'm not going to use their clipboard. Making books, again, and another thing that you can do is get a piece of paper and write different, draw different lines or different lengths, and let them measure each line, and they can record their work. It's a good work. This is parts of the fish. Miss Hannah made these little booklets for you. If they are older, they're gonna make their own book. So they're gonna have their yarn in here so that they can tie it. Then they have, these are the control cards, and this is going to be, these are all the same, and they're going to color just the part and match. So in this case, they would color the entire fish. In this case, they would color just the body, the eye, and the head, and the different fins. And then once they're finished, they can, if you have a stapler, they can staple it, they can hole punch it, and make a book. Bookmaking is a really big part of our day, so we like to encourage that. They can use whatever colors they'd like. Some like to match, some are rebels and want to color it however they want. So this is clay. We use this for creating works if they want to sculpt what they're studying, fish. They can begin to create different color fish and different sizes. I don't give them everything at one time. I maybe will give sections, maybe start with 4 colors or even 5 if the fish have a lot of colors. And I will maybe tear off or cut a section going across. So you should be able to get multiple uses of this. Another work that we did was creating birds, sculpting birds and bird eggs, because bird eggs can be many different colors, and so they were creating those, and also it was a nice sensorial work for them. They can also do that with Play-Doh, and we're sending home a Play-Doh kit. I might be able to gather up some fish, plastic fish that we use in our classroom, and maybe toss a couple in each bag so that they can use for a reference. Or if you have time, you can print some pictures from the internet and maybe just print those out really quick, set those on their table, or you could get a fish book and you could lay out a fish book and show them, maybe talk about the different types, whether it's freshwater or saltwater. Saltwater fish tend to be more bright and colorful, so that could be a good starting point for you. Practical life, cleaning work. They love to clean. We're sending home a spray bottle with the same solution that we make here at our school, and this is about half parts alcohol and half part water. And we add lavender essential oil, sometimes mint, whatever we have on hand, sometimes a little tea tree for disinfect. And if you're worried about it getting in your child's eyes, which that's never happened, you can just do lavender. And if it does get on their hands, just have them wash their hands and flush, you know, if it were to get in their eye, flush it out. Again, I don't know that I've ever had that happen. Just have them wash their hands after. This is our body lotion or body butter that we make, and this has lavender in it. Miss Hannah will do a guided story time. This is when we come in from the playground and we wash our hands, and it's sort of like a ritual where we're setting the tone so they can come in and just really calm themselves and be open to hearing the story. We dim the lights, so I encourage you to follow the same schedule if you can. Some of you, I've talked to you about that one-on-one, like how do I get my child to take a nap? Create that consistent rhythm that we have here. Nap time begins at 1 or 1:15 after our story time, and prior to that we have lunch, we go to playground, we come in, and then we begin our hand washing. And once everybody has their hand washing, Miss Hannah's ready to receive them at circle time, and we will have pre-recorded lessons, that's right, story time, and we'll also have it live on Zoom if I know our older kids would be able to do that. Miss Hannah will take a applicator. You can use a popsicle stick, and she puts them in little seashells. I'll send a seashell home, that reminds me. So we use that and just kind of dollop a portion and just set it by your child, get them ready to watch for the guided lotion and sensorial work. So we're gonna send this home. Pack of paintbrushes for watercolors, but this is our tempera paint. And if you have stock paper, anything like construction paper, stock paper is best. You can get them set up to paint, and we have all of our colors here that we use in our classroom. I have some canvases that I'll probably send home in the next couple of weeks. You're free to use this however you'd like, and we'll send some examples as well. This is our color mixing work, and this is a really popular work in our classroom. So we're gonna begin with, you would have a tray and you're gonna set it out, and they can carry the tray. I encourage them to do this work. This is a table work. We don't do this work on the floor. So normally in our classroom too, they go get their apron and put their apron on before their water work. If you have one, great. If you have a child apron, I encourage you to get it out and put it on the back of their chair, put it on a hook, because it sets the tone for them to be able to excitedly and joyously get this work. Like, are you ready? Let's go get our apron. And they'll run to get their apron, and then they can carry their tray or go up to the table that has the work on it already. We take it out. So if this was our table, we would set the tray here. And then we have our ice cube tray here. This is just one idea. We also use little bowls too. And we have a sponge that we keep handy, and this is for your child to clean up their work. And then we leave our primary colors. These are primary for color mixing and not light, but obviously, you know, red, blue, and yellow. We have droppers for each container. And this is really important because this is part of our sense of order. We work from left to right, and so each container will have their own dropper. We encourage them to do one at a time, open one at a time, and to carefully, you can help them with this. I usually do. And then they're going to use one dropper, not one in volume, but one dropper per color. And I always let them know it's use this only for red, use this only for yellow, and use this one for blue, because we want to make sure that our work stays nice, neat, and beautiful. So these are our primary colors, and we're going to make secondary colors using our droppers. So if you'd like to begin with red, they can drop it in. And then what happens when we mix red and yellow? Let's find out. And then you'll need a toothpick. I just realized that. So a toothpick is what they use to mix the color. I'll put that in as well. And you might need to, sometimes red needs to be super bold, and I tried to get it bold, but I think sometimes it can be too pink and it won't give you those deep purples that you need. So I'm pretty liberal with red. If you have red food coloring or red dye, please add some to the mix when I send it home, because we're out. So the blue should be fine and the yellow should be fine, but the red could use some freshening up. When they are finished, they'll spend 30 minutes on this work. When they're finished, and again, if they don't spend 30 minutes, it's okay. 10 minutes is fine, 15 minutes. They walk using their two hands, and they'll empty the tray in the sink, in the bathroom sink, and then they'll come back and clean it, wipe it down, put it back on the tray. You're gonna wanna help them close each container. And this is really important because in our classroom, we don't leave messy works. We don't leave messes for other people to clean up, and this is an important life lesson too, that sense of order. So we're gonna screw on all of the caps tightly, and we're gonna keep our work nice and beautiful so that when the next friend uses it, they will have the same opportunity to have a nice, neat, and beautiful work tray. And so we're gonna wipe it down. If they resist, you can, that's another conversation, and you can call me or text me and we can talk about how to move through that. Sometimes there can be a little bit of power struggle with cleaning up. We usually don't see that at school. Once in a while we do, but we can talk about that. I am sending home these. Do you remember these when you were kids? My dad and mom used to have these, and I used to go and get them from their room. It was in a big jar, and what I would encourage you to do is to place, gather some change. You're gonna want several pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters. Let them disinfect overnight in a solution. That way when you give them the currency, it's clean. And you're going to put, if you want to use 4 bowls, one nickels, pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters, and separate them, you can. I encourage step 1, you can help your child separate from a big bowl into 4 bowls, and then they can begin feeding their quarters into each tube. I'm gonna send home 1 for each. If they really like this work, I'll send home more. This will keep their hands busy, and it will keep them really concentrating. So I'm gonna send these. Again, just remember to disinfect. Put this on a tray as well. They can help you create this work. But if it were on the classroom, I would have it ready to go. I would have it in a bowl, and then 1 big bowl, 4 smaller ones, and then these to the left. I'm sorry it's not more in detail. There's so much here that I could literally make videos on every one of these, so not everything is going to be fully explained. You'll have to kind of get the feel of it, and I know that you can. We have a magnifying glass. When you go outside on your scavenger hunt, you can look for items that you find outside, and it's just put them in a basket with a little linen towel or napkin, and just make it beautiful. And the objects that they find, they can collect and just sit and just observe. This is really good too if you have any rocks or geodes or minerals that they can look. We have a tray that we pull out once in a while with different rocks, and they can really see those colors up close, and they really appreciate that. So those are some ideas of what we're going to send home the first week. You can use these works more than just 1 week. These are going to be things that you're going to go back to and refresh. It's probably a good idea to put out a couple each day. You can explore this with your child at first and maybe ask what works they want to do first, and then maybe put the other ones away and then bring them out. So there's that sense of newness and that sense of excitement, like what's going to be on the table tomorrow morning for our work cycle. So this is more of your, this is your formal works, like your subjects and your practical life and your art sort of all together. Remember that your work cycle can be baking bread, it can be food preparation. Food preparation is a really big deal. Hand washing, putting that apron on, giving mom or dad. One person can help your child while the other one is taking a break or working. They can cut strawberries and bananas and serve them to their parent. Remember those acts of service for your family. Those acts of giving are really important in our Montessori classroom. And this is part of their development and creating the best human beings that we can. And so it's a holistic approach. Everything that we do together should be done joyously, and if not, it's okay. Meet them where they are. If you find yourself getting stressed, please reach out to myself and Hannah. Even in the classroom, times can become chaotic and very stressful, and that's normal. So I don't want you to come away from this feeling like there has to be perfection. This is going to be a step-by-step learning process and a learning curve, and we're here to support you, and we're here to be with your child every day. And feel free to reach out to set appointments with us. And I know Miss Hannah and Miss Sydney are very much looking forward to that one-on-one time with your your child, as am I. Thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll have success with logging on and uploading this. Thank you.